those amount to a deadly war on veterans. They were firing service-connected, disabled veterans working on the crisis line, which is where we want them. A lot of you worked in the space where you have helped transitioning veterans who maybe don't have skill sets that translate easily to the private sector to find employment. Roughly 30% of the federal workforce is veterans, and that's intentional, right? And where do we want service-connected disabled veterans in particular? It's on the crisis line, so that when the person's in crisis, they're reaching a peer who understands, their perspective and experiences. A lot of people are more familiar with PTSD, which, has a lot of symptoms of hypervigilance, and that is more easily recognized by clinicians. But there's another side called moral injury that I mentioned before, that's more like a wound to your soul or from something that you witnessed that sort of violates your moral compass and your essence of what is right and wrong. And that can be a compounding factor that leads veterans into crisis, and that will cause veterans to introvert into themselves, to not be comfortable sharing their experiences. And those veterans that suffer from both PTSD and moral injury can be at higher risk of suicide. And so having those veterans who have dealt with moral injury on the crisis line is essential to saving lives, because they're going to invite someone into that conversation and space in a really authentic way. And that said, when you're firing service-connected disabled veterans with skills that don't translate to the private sector, they lose their purpose. And what is another risk factor to suicide, right? Loss of purpose and faith and hope. And these are people that, never took off their uniform to serve their country, in essence. The veterans that work with us, that's the way I view them. They never took off their uniform